All right. Well, good evening and welcome everyone. My name is Autumn Salamak and I'm the Environmental Services Coordinator for the City of Shoreline. We're very excited to have you with us for the third class in our Earth Day Everyday series, which explores ways we can protect our environment and live sustainably every day. Tonight, we have Cameron Reed from our Environmental Services team here at the City to cover safer cleaning, how to clean safely and effectively using products and methods that are less hazardous and better for your family and the environment. Now, before we dive in, I just have a few announcements to help the webinar run smoothly. First, this is a Zoom webinar, so your cameras are off and you are muted automatically. If you need assistance or are having trouble connecting, please reach out using the chat button that you should see at the top or bottom of your screen. Second, we are recording tonight's presentation and we'll send you an email tomorrow with the links to the recording and any resources that we mentioned tonight. We plan to go until 8 p.m. and then have time to take a few questions, wrapping up by 8:20 at the latest. If you have questions specific to the webinar, please use the QA feature at the top or the bottom of your page so that everyone can see your question and the answers. You'll see that there's a little thumbs up button in that box, and if someone has already asked the same question you have, you can click on that thumb to like it and bump it to the top of the list. If you are calling in on the phone tonight and you would like to ask a question during the question and answer time, you can press *9. That will alert us that you have a question and we'll let you know when it's your turn and how to unmute yourself. Last but not least, we have safer cleaning kits available for Shoreline residents who requested one on the Zoom registration. The kits include everything you need to get started with a refillable glass spray bottle, a microfiber cleaning cloth, a bucket for mixing, a zip-it drain clearing tool, a recipe card, a scrubbing pad, and some starter ingredients. We'll go over how to use each of these items tonight, and Cameron will send out an email tomorrow with information on how and when you can pick up your kits. These are for Shoreline residents only who registered for tonight's class and checked the box on the Zoom registration to request a kit. If you're a Shoreline resident who did not check the box or provide your address, you can still email Cameron with your address to be added to the list for a kit. And with that, I will hand it over to Cameron.
All right, thanks Autumn. And hello everybody, it's nice to be back here. It's exciting to see you all. Thanks for joining us on this lovely April evening in Shoreline to talk about cleaning. So first of all, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Hazardous Waste Management Program in King County. So they are the ones who developed this curriculum. They also provided all the funding part of the funding for the series and all of the funding for those safer cleaning kits that we have. So super grateful to them. And that program is a collaboration between Seattle and King County Public Health, designed to help us manage hazards from different products that are out there. They provide safe disposal options for county residents and do education on how we can prevent harm in the first place. So first off, I just want to ask this question, why are we talking about this? And as the name implies, safer cleaning, there are a lot of common cleaning products that actually contain chemicals that are hazardous to your health. And so we want to protect our family, ourselves, maybe if you have kids, you want to protect them from these impacts from some things that you might just have around the house already. Secondly, these products can also cause harm to the environment. When a lot of times they can end up in our waterways or in Puget Sound from usage or from improper disposal. And so we want to try to use safer alternative products that cause less harm to the environment and don't have to require such special handling. So these products that we'll talk about, and we'll talk about how to identify them, are actually so hazardous that we don't want them in the trash. They require special handling and disposal to make sure that they don't cause harm to people or get out into the environment. And last but not least, you can see the little picture of the King County landfill up there with the view of Mount Rainier in the top right corner. It's a pretty pretty drastic juxtaposition there. But you can, if you go this route and try out some of these recipes at home, you might even be able to reduce waste by, using refillable containers. So it's a good way to take a step towards zero waste as well. But first off, so this is going to be a pretty interactive presentation, hopefully. So I really need your participation here. So what I want to do, I want to hear from you. So have you or anyone you know ever been hurt while cleaning or ever experienced some kind of harm while cleaning? And what I want you to do is just leave your thought or leave your little anecdote in the chat box. So use the chat. And a little bit of an icebreaker here. We won't be able to see each other's comments, but I'll read a couple out that come in. And I know just from myself, different cleaning jobs I've experienced, like some skin irritation or maybe some eye irritation, dizziness sometimes, and that's super common. So especially for people who do a lot of cleaning or maybe work in a cleaning industry, exposure to different chemicals and cleaning products can cause a wide range of health effects. From headaches to dizziness to rash or skin irritation, eye irritation, all the way up to some pretty severe impacts. So we have some amazing things coming in. Tendinitis from scrubbing. That's not the kind we're talking about, but thanks for sharing. And rug cleaner in the eyes. He's okay, but it was super scary. Accidentally mixed bleach and ammonia. So you can get stuff that's very reactive and can cause poisonous fumes or explosions. Smell of different products can give headaches. Some people haven't experienced things. Dry skin, yep, that's a super common one. Eye irritation, chemical burns, rash. Mixed cleaning products in a closed bathroom and got minor brain damage. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. So this is a real thing, not making this up. Blistering, specific product there for shower doors that was really noxious smelling. Burns. There's just a huge amount. Throat irritation. So you all know what I'm talking about. And that's why we're doing this, this is exactly what we're doing. Thank you so much for sharing. A lot of these can be pretty scary. They run the gamut from, some mild irritation that's maybe, just uncomfortable, all the way to some seriously life-altering and life-threatening things. So thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate you sharing your stories there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So how can we avoid being harmed by hazardous products in the future? How can we or those we love or those in our family avoid that harm? And so the first thing, I have just a few tips, 6 tips actually, that can help us reduce this risk, keep ourselves and our family safe, and protect the environment, all while still doing a really fine job of keeping your home clean and healthy. So the first tip, and this is kind of just like a basic principle to talk about, but we need to know the difference between cleaning and disinfecting. So it's basic, but it's super important, especially right now in the midst of a pandemic. So cleaning and disinfecting are two different tasks, 2 different jobs. So cleaning is the physical removal of dirt, grease, and germs. So this would be, a physical action. You're scrubbing, you're wiping, sweeping, other cleaning practices where you're actually removing microbes, removing dirt, removing grease from a surface. Whereas disinfecting is you're killing the germs by a chemical action. So very different things. And most of this presentation, we are going to just be talking about the cleaning portion. So not disinfecting. The recipes that I have are not disinfectant recipes to use for COVID. There's very specific guidelines that you can find on the EPA's website or on the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's website about what kind of disinfectants to use for COVID. So we're not going to cover that. We'll let them cover that. This is just about your basic cleaning, and it does, but you can use it, right? So the principle that I do want to highlight is that you should always clean before you disinfect. So cleaning is the first step, because if you don't do that, if you don't remove the surface dirt, the surface grease, then it gives the possibility for a lot of the microbes and things and viruses and germs to be hidden and attached to that surface. So it actually, your disinfecting won't be very effective, and you will actually end up having to use a lot more product, or it just doesn't work as well. So you always want to clean before you disinfect. And we produced a nice little brochure, again, with the hazardous waste program on this, called Safer Cleaning and COVID-19, that goes into this a little more detail, and it is available online on our website. We'll send out the link to that. And it's also, we've included a hard copy in your safer cleaning kits for the folks that requested that. And just the last little note on disinfecting, always, always, always read the product label, make sure you're applying it correctly, and protect yourself. So here you can see, in the big orange glove. So whatever the precautions are, make sure you're following that on the label. So that's all I want to say there. So the second tip, and this is really sort of the big one, so we'll spend some time here, but there are 4 key signal words that are the way that you can identify which products are safer and which are harmful. So to do this, we actually are going to need you to participate again. We're going to do a little activity. And you're going to have to get up from your computer. So I know you all probably just got nicely nestled down in your Zoom nook. But I want you to get up and go to where you have a couple cleaning products, whether that's the kitchen or the bathroom, under a counter, sink, or a cabinet, or wherever. Go grab 2, 3, 4, whatever you can safely carry, and bring them back over to where your computer, your workspace is. And just, be careful, make sure everything's sealed up nice and tight. Make sure you don't leave anything open. Don't spill anything while you're doing this, but just go grab a couple products, and we're going to take a look at the labels and read them together. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. And what I want you to look for is look at the labels and see if there are any words that you can find on the label that might give us a clue as to whether this is a safe product or whether it might be potentially harmful. So what kind of words are you seeing on the label that might be clues to this? And it can be confusing because there's a lot of different words out there. So again, I'm gonna ask you to use the chat, and you won't be able to see everyone else's submission, but I'll try to read some off as we go. So give folks a minute or two to grab stuff. Okay, so we got non-toxic, great. Ammonia-free, odor-free, sounds nice. Keep out of reach of children, so that's some instructions there. Warning, pretty straightforward. Plant-powered, I like that. It sounds fun. pH balance, also sounds cool. Danger, corrosive, all caps. All right, so yeah, so seems like a pretty good clue. Might even tell us, what the product will do, potentially why it's hazardous. Biodegradable, non-toxic, biodegradable, those are super common ones. Laundry soap says safer choice. Awesome, thanks for pointing that out, and we'll cover that. Caution, eye irritant, yep, so again, pretty clear warning, says something about what it might do. Hazards to humans and domestic animals, great, yeah, so it tells you maybe who it might be harmful for. Naturally derived, so that's like biodegradable, some things that are talking about what's in it. Natural, the oh so famous natural, so vague, so effective at marketing. Essential oils, bleach free, made without parabens. Yeah, lots of good stuff here. Thank you all for sharing. Cleans without bleaching, USDA certified bio-based product. Again, that's talking about what it's made out of. Awesome, thank you for sharing. Non-toxic, non-caustic. So again, caustic referring to what the product does chemically. First aid instructions, awesome. Harmful if swallowed, again, some direct warnings. Never test on animals. Awesome, so thank you all for sharing, and yeah, feel free to keep popping things in as you're looking at them. So we found lots of words and a lot of terms, and it's hard to tell maybe what's going to be safer, what's maybe just marketing, if we're looking specifically from the standpoint of how can I prevent harm to myself, to the environment. So that's the lens we're looking through tonight. So there's actually 4 words that are required by law to be on products that are hazardous. And these are words that you know, I'm assuming a company wouldn't put on there if they didn't have to. So if you see one of these 4 words, it is a telltale sign that this is a technically considered a hazardous product. It's hazardous enough that we don't want it in the solid waste stream. It needs to have special handling and disposal. And those 4 words are danger, poison, caution, and warning. So maybe a few of you, I heard a few cautions, I think, maybe a danger or 2 in there. So those, anything that has any of those 4, either of those 4 words is considered a hazardous product. And you can see there's a bit of a tier here, right? So I'll use this little highlighter tool. Let's see how that works. So, you know, you can see danger and poison are going to be our most harmful products. So that's the highest hazard level category, is anything that says danger or poison. Down below it, so warning or caution, it's still considered hazardous and it's moderately harmful. So it is less harmful, that is slightly safer than something that says danger or poison. So if you don't see any of those words, if there's no danger, no poison, no warning, or no caution, then it's a pretty darn safe product. It's not considered hazardous. It can, you know, just be used of and disposed of normally. And then down at the bottom, one of you mentioned you had a product with the Safer Choice logo. So that is a certification developed by the Environmental Protection Agency. That means that this product is the safest in its class and still meets standards for efficacy. So that anything with the Safer Choice product logo is going to be basically the safest products you can get and the least hazardous. So it's very, very safe. And there's also next to it, there's another logo. It might be a little hard to read the words in there, but it says cradle to cradle. And so that is a very similar certification. And if you see that, it's basically on par with Safer Choice. So either of those 2, usually they're green and blue, but sometimes they will be monochrome. Let's see, so the dish soap that I have, something similar. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the Safer Choice logo right down there in the corner, and it's in purple and white. So it's not always that green-blue color. So those are the 4 words that are legally required. They're not marketing, and that's the key to identifying safer products. And it's really easy because it's just 4 words that you need to remember. Danger, poison, caution, and warning. So any of those mean that this is a hazardous product and it needs special handling and disposal. It's not actually, we don't want it in the trash. Yeah, Autumn?
Just a quick question for you, Cameron, and it's okay if you don't have the answer, but
Sure.
if a cleaner has a warning section and also has the Safer Choice logo, is that in conflict, or Safer Choice logo wins out?
That's a great question. I wonder if you would be able to email me a photo of that. I don't know off the top of my head, and it's kind of hard to see. I'm curious. Usually these will be like in all caps, if it's like the label. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Oh, but one thing I can say about that. So the Safer Choice does mean that it's the safest in its class of products, but that, you know, there's all different kinds of products, right? So maybe you have like an oven cleaner that has Safer Choice, but maybe it's still, you know, compared to like dish soap or something, you're going to need to think about how you handle and use the oven cleaner a little bit more than you do about dish soap. Obviously, you still don't want to like consume dish soap, but just to note that, you know, this means it's safest in its class. So in the class of similar products. But yeah, if you shoot me an email with that label, I'll reach out to the Haz Waste folks and we'll take a look at it. Great question. So we're going to do a little activity. So take your products that you have and see if you can organize them from the safest to the most hazardous based on those words that you have in the label. And reach out in the chat if you have any trouble or put a question in the QA if you have a question about your product label. I'll give you a couple minutes there to do that. So again, Safer Choice or Cradle to Cradle is going to be the safest. If it doesn't have any of the 4 signal words, that's going to be safe enough, which is quite safe. And then caution and warning, moderately harmful, danger, poison, most harmful. And we also have these little, a card that we'll put in your cleaning kit that just has this. And so this is designed to be, just a reminder. You can keep it in your purse or in your shopping bag for when you go into the store. So this is how you can, when you're in the store, excuse me, you can identify products based on their label. So this is the same thing that we talked about. So, safest, great product choice. Safe enough is something that doesn't have those four. Great product choice. Somewhat harmful, so maybe you can't find any of those options, then something with caution or warning is going to be hazardous, but it's going to be safer than something that says danger or poison. So those are the things that we really want to avoid, just because they need so much special handling, and you have to think about how you store them, how you use them, how are you protecting yourself, how are you protecting your family. We have these available in a ton of different languages. So if you're interested in getting more, maybe you're part of a community group or organization you prefer another language, please reach out and we can get you hooked up with those. And next, I just want to show a close-up. So this is the Safer Choice logo we mentioned. Again, it can be in a couple different colors, or the cradle to cradle certified, which I have not seen that as much. Most of the ones that I've used are Safer Choice, but that is out there. That's another legitimate certification. And yeah, somebody referenced the Mr. Yuck stickers. So that was a campaign from Hazardous Waste, I believe, or from the EPA. So okay, we have an activity. So hopefully you've had a chance to organize your products, and hopefully now you're confident, you know how to rank those. You can go into a store and navigate and find a safer product. But we're going to test you. So I'm going to launch a poll here, and I apologize. This might be kind of hard to read these labels, so might have to grab your reading glasses or magnify the screen. But which of these oven cleaning products is going to be the safer product? So say you're in the store, you only, for some reason, you have to buy oven cleaner, and these are your only options. Which one's going to be safer? I'll give folks just 20-30 seconds here to pop it in. And again, apologies, the labels are a little small on the screen. All right. And again, yeah, there's so many different words here. So easy off, professional, max, fume free. That sounds good, right? No scrubbing required. That sounds like it'll be easy. Then there's one, has some symbols on there that are look like something from a Halloween display. Give people like 2-3 more seconds. Awesome. Okay. So if you voted blue, the center one that says fume free, you are correct. Let me see if I can magnify this. Oops. So again, down here, we see danger on the left side, the easy off in yellow. And you see those symbols, those are also indicating what the chemical does. So danger, that's our signal word. So that is our highest hazard class. Jumping to the right side, maybe you missed it up here in the top, it says poison. So that is also in red, that is the, says it works in 5 minutes, but it also is legally poison. So just interesting that you would be putting that in your oven. So in the center down here, it's really small, apologies, but you can see the caution. So it's still a hazardous product. This is still a hazardous product. It needs special handling and disposal. You can see it, and it's got some Spanish titles as well, but caution. So this blue in the center is going to be the easiest, or the least hazardous out of these three. Now, thank you all for voting. Just stop sharing that. And we have another one. So this is a real world example for my own home. And this is, again, kind of tricky, might be hard to see. I apologize for that. But I like this example because it shows we have some awesome marketing here, some really great, simple graphic design, some earthy colors. The title, the brand name is EcoVare, plant-based. That sounds awesome. Biodegradable, great. He looks really good, pine fresh. But which category do you all think this is in? And let me launch another poll here. So is this in the most harmful category? Is it somewhat harmful? Is it safe enough? Or is it in the safest category? Those 4 categories we talked about. And this one was a surprise to me. See, a lot of you are on the right track here. Just give you a couple more seconds. But yeah, when I was doing a similar exercise as we did here tonight, I pulled this one out. It's like, yeah, this is great, super eco-friendly. And then I saw the little caution eye irritant CBAC label down here. So it has that caution in bold we were talking about. Yep, so if you voted somewhat harmful, you were right. This is technically a hazardous product and needs safe handling and disposal. You know, you can read the back label to tell exactly what the hazards are, and maybe you can make a judge, you know, about how you need to protect yourself when you use this or how you need to store it. Let's do one more of these. Again, this is from my house. BioClean, all-purpose cleaner. Is this most harmful? Oh, I have to end that other one. 1 second. So yeah, the EcoVair was somewhat harmful. Got that. And I'm gonna launch the next poll. So yeah, this BioClean, and now you can't see it on this front here, so maybe hold your vote. I'm gonna zoom in on the back here. And again, it's really small, so I apologize for that. There's a lot of different words on the front and back, all purpose, super concentrated, safe for most types of services, leaves no harsh residues or fumes. But what else do we see on there? We see one of our signal words. We have some nice, you know, nice recycle symbol, a water symbol, that renewable energy symbol, great things. But what category is this in? Little hint there. Give people like 5 more seconds to vote. So yeah, technically, thank you all for voting. This, if you voted somewhat harmful, you're correct. So this one has our signal word caution on it in all caps. It also says keep out of reach of children in all caps. So this is technically considered a hazardous product. You know, it has some other great environmental things going for it, but if we're looking at the potential harm to humans and harm if this gets out in the environment, then it's considered a hazardous product. So it's not in the most hazardous category, it is just in that somewhat harmful category. So, but it does need special handling and disposal. So thank you all for voting. And so again, the question we want to ask ourselves with all this. So hopefully now you're confident, you know how to identify hazardous products or safe products based on the label, based on those 4 signal words: danger, poison, warning, or caution. But a question we need to ask ourselves is, do we need to use a hazardous product in the first place, or do we even need to use a chemical at all? So for some jobs, especially a lot of simpler cleaning jobs, you might get an equal or better result by using a tool or a physical method and not even have to bother with the chemical at all. Also, tools can be cheaper over the long run for certain tasks if it's something you can use again and again rather than constantly buying more products. So a couple of examples of this, and again, this is one from my own experience, but at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was rushing out to buy disinfectant, I did the same thing, went out to a grocery store looking for hand sanitizer, and I picked up the only thing that was left for disinfectant, which I don't even know if it is effective versus against COVID. I haven't opened it, haven't used it. But the reason I bought it was because there in red, you can see it says kills 99.9% of germs. Again, we're not talking about disinfecting for COVID. So that's, very specific things around that. But if we're just talking about, your normal daily, weekly cleaning routine, you want to have a really nice, countertop or bathroom. Do you need to use something? Let's scroll to the back label here. That is caution. So causes moderate eye irritation, avoid contact with the eyes, wash thoroughly. You also have to rinse the surface down after using this. Hazards to humans and domestic animals. Whereas if you have one of these microfiber cloths like we've put in your cleaning kits, you can see on the front here, it says removes over 99% of bacteria. So again, back to the front, 99.9% of germs, removes physically 99% of bacteria. Your microfiber cloth, you can use just with water, so you don't even need product. It's quicker, it's easier, it's safer, probably cheaper in the long run if you're doing a lot of cleaning, because you just keep reusing and washing the cloth. So just a little thing to point out there that, I could get this hazardous product and need to store it properly, need to keep my family safe from it. And then, when I'm ready to get rid of it, I have to dispose of it properly and, risk harm to the environment. Or I can use this cloth that is 100% safe and removes, very, very similar efficacy right there. So just pointing that out. Another one, and this is a great one. I love this example. So instead of Drano, which is a super toxic, corrosive chemical, it burns on contact, harmful if swallowed, keep out of reach of children, all of those lovely phrases. And we see our danger word, which is our highest hazard category. So instead of this, and we'll talk about some other consequences literally down the drain line from these type of products at the end. But instead of using this, you can use these little zip it tools. Again, we have one in your cleaning kits. They're easy to pick up. I think Home Depot or Amazon have them. You probably get them a lot of different places. But these are super effective for clearing, especially if it's like a clog in a bathroom drain that's probably mostly hair or something. They're very effective. Warning, it's super gross. So you stick them in and you pull it out and it will physically pull out the thing. Then you can clean that off, put that material in the trash. Your drain is clear. You never had to use a chemical. You never had to risk that hazard. You didn't have to put on gloves. And technically, I think with Drano, you're supposed to put on like goggles and gloves and everything, and then rinse it all down and risk burning. To do that when you can just use this, zip it in there, and it's done. And we'll show you a non-toxic drain clearing recipe here in a second. But I just love this. Another tool that would be good in these bathroom applications is just a sink strainer. Get a good strainer cover that goes over the drain, and that's just going to prevent a lot of the problems in the first place. So that's the point there is, do I even need to use a chemical? And yeah, there's our danger word. And another reason I like to say that, do I need to use a hazardous product? This photo, I saw this was just so crazy. So, thinking about if you have kids in your house or, thinking about, oh, I need to actually store these products safely because sometimes, there's lookalikes. So you have this cheese container, Parmesan cheese, the exact same color scheme, about the same size and shape as the Comet, which would probably not taste good on pasta. So again, just pointing out, do I need to have a hazardous product? Can I just avoid the risk or confusion in the first place? Another photo that I've seen was one of these hand sanitizer packets that came out that have for kids that have all the little action figure hero, cartoon characters on them, and it looks just like a juice box. It was just or a juice packet, really similar size, shape, and similar labeling. So just think that, especially if you have kids at the home, like, do I need to have a hazardous product in my house? So next, we're going to learn some recipes. So these are great, and you can go really deep in this. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can get into the essential oils. There's all sorts of customizations that you can do on this. These are just some very basic sort of core recipes for some of our key daily, weekly sort of cleaning chores. And these are alternatives that are completely non-toxic, super cheap. You can make them with really basic ingredients that you have at home, probably already, and they're very, very safe. So completely non-toxic. And this is the kind of thing where if you get in the habit of doing this, you can even reduce your packaging by refilling your containers and not having to constantly buy pre-mixed products. So let's make it at home. So we have these little cleaning recipe cards that I will show you here in a second. We'll dive into it for 6 basic cleaning recipes that you can make with 3 ingredients and water and a couple of the tools that are in your kits. So dish soap on the left, you can't see it, but it has the little, Safer Choice symbol down at the bottom. So we have some Safer Choice dish soap in your kit. Baking soda, common kitchen household ingredient, super versatile cleaner. It's a mildly abrasive cleaner. So and then vinegar, so white distilled vinegar. Again, common product for cooking and cleaning. A lot of you might even have these at home. You can find these at pretty much any grocery store around, or a drugstore will have them. So super common, super cheap ingredients. And here's the recipe cards I mentioned. So we have one that's a floor cleaner, one that is a drain cleaner that I'll show you, do a little demo. One is a toilet bowl cleaner, a tub and sink cleaner, a window and mirror cleaner, and a counter cleaner. Again, I have these in 18 different languages in addition to English. So if you have know of somebody who would be interested in this, but has trouble with English, please let us know and we can get them some things. One thing to note on this, if you are going to be making your cleaners, and we have some nice, I have a plastic spray bottle here, but a lot of the ones in the kits we have are glass. Just an important note is always label things, especially if you have kids at home. You don't, these are non-toxic, but you still don't want to mistake stuff for water. It wouldn't be fun to drink. So let's jump into one of these really quickly. So the first one is the tub and sink cleaner. And here's the little recipe card. It shows you in little simple graphics how to do it. This is one of my favorites. It's one of the simplest. And since I've learned it, I've started using it all the time. I really like it I have like one of the steel compost food scrap pails. And I don't like using the plastic bag liners. So I usually use a paper bag, but sometimes, the food gets soggy and goes through. So after I dump my compost, this is a great one, rinse it out and put a little baking soda in there and scrub it out. And it does wonders, and it's really good because it also keeps the smell down. So I'm going to play this little video for you. And Autumn, let me know, let's make sure the sound is coming through. Are you hearing anything, Autumn?
I am not hearing anything.
Okay. It doesn't, I don't think it's really important to have the sound on this one. But basically, so you can see what she did there. She just put a couple of, you basically sprinkle baking soda on the surface. So again, this is great for tubs and sinks. So think bathroom, think kitchen. And you can see there the end product is really nice and shiny. But you just sprinkle the baking soda. I'll play it again if I can. There you go. So just a little sprinkle, depending on how dirty it is or how deep you want to go. And then a couple of sprinkles of water. So you don't want to wash it away. You just want to drop to get it moist, kind of get it like into a paste. And you do that right on the surface you want to clean. And then you got your little scrub pad. And so you can, if it's just daily cleaning, a lot of times I'll use like a bristle brush. But if you want to go deeper, you can use your scrubby pad that we have for you in the cleaning kit, or just the typical sponge. Scrub it out and give it a rinse, and it's good to go. So this is great for stainless steel. This is great for, again, like a bathroom situation, for some counters, and for like tile, maybe around your bathtub. So this is great. It works by abrasion. And so there's a few surfaces you don't want to use this on. One is marble. Another would be like wood furniture. So it would actually kind of scratch the finish there. Aluminum, it's okay. You just have to rinse it because it will oxidize it, which will darken the surface. And then glass, you want to use, we have a recipe for glass cleaning. And also it's not supposed to be used on ceramic stove tops. So, But it's great for, again, stainless steel, great for like tile, great for your bathroom, the tub, those kind of surfaces. Completely non-toxic. Again, it's just baking soda and water. So that's one of my favorites. Super effective, super simple. Yeah, that's a good question. We might get to that. Okay, so the next one, again, this is where we were talking about, keep in mind the alternative, which is that Drano product, which is super corrosive, burns on contact, or we can use this recipe here, which calls for a half cup of baking soda, a half cup of white vinegar, and some boiling water. So this is what you can use to unclog some drains. This would work, in your kitchen, your bathroom sink, anywhere you have a drain. And this is a completely safe, non-hazardous method. And if any of you have done like middle school volcano science experiments, you might be familiar with it. So also known as the baking soda bomb. Let's watch this little video. Is that sound coming through, Autumn?
Yes.
There you can see the sink is clogged. So he uses a half glass of baking soda. Ours calls for a half of a cup. Little variation. Full glass of vinegar. We do a half a cup in our recipe, but you can maybe experiment a little bit with that. Then you just put it straight into the drain. Baking soda first. And then the vinegar. Let's see, it's sizzling, doing its thing. You will get a little bit of vinegar smell, but don't worry, that goes away. And now ours calls to chase it with some boiling water. He just did that. And you can see that the clog clear. So completely done, completely gone. No hazardous products. You don't need a wear hand protection or eye protection. Get suited up just to clear your drain. And again, ours calls for boiling water to chase it down. That also just increases the efficacy. And then, maybe it partially clears it, but you can just repeat it as needed.
Quick question for you, Cameron. For these recipes that call for vinegar, does it need to be white vinegar, or could you also use like apple cider vinegar?
I believe it needs to be. So here's what we put in the kits. If you can see that, it's a distilled white vinegar. So I think apple cider vinegar is a little different and might have a slightly different acidity too. But yeah, I can look that up and get back to you for an exact answer. But yeah, these recipes are all intended to be white vinegar. So those are two examples. Again, we have, whoops. Bear with me one moment here. Got to show. Okay, there we go. So the next recipe that we have is a counter cleaner. I just lost my notes there. Okay, so this is a simple counter cleaner. So again, this would be an alternative to something like that BioClean, or there's a lot of sprays that are like antibacterial, have all the, but then they're actually like a pretty hazardous product. So this is an alternative. This is great for kitchen counters, tabletops, countertops, kitchen table, any kind of simple surface like that where you just need a wipe down at the end of the day. And this time we're going to be using our little spray bottle. So you can use a plastic spray bottle or a glass spray bottle, whatever you like. And our microfiber cloth, our e-cloth. This can help reduce waste, refill it again and again instead of buying a pre-mixed product. And as advertised, so the microfiber cloth is super effective just with water. And there's some instructions for how to do that. Basically, you just wet the cloth, wring it out so you don't want it sopping wet, and then wipe down the surface to be cleaned. And then you rinse it out and wash it. So that's as simple as it is with just the microfiber and water. But if you need a little more oomph, you have maybe you're like me, you're kind of a messy cooker, and somehow pasta sauce just like ends up different places. This could be a great recipe for that. So basically it's a cup of water, 1 teaspoon of your dish soap, which is safer choice, so we know it's non-hazardous, goes into your spray bottle. And then it's just like any other spray. You just spray it, to as much as you need to clear the mess, and then wipe it down with a microfiber cloth. Then you rinse out your cloth, and you can wash it on hot or air dry it. So this is, again, super simple, super safe, and it's great for kind of all of those daily chores. So that's your counter cleaner. There are 3 other recipes. So we got our toilet bowl cleaner, our floor cleaner, and what's the last one? The window and mirror cleaner. So we also have instructions for that on your card. I have these cards available. I'll send a link to them for those of you who aren't getting a kit. But if you are getting a kit, I have the hard copies there, the recipe cards for you. So you can keep that with your little bucket in your, wherever you keep your products as a reminder for how to make those. So those are the recipes that I have. Super, super simple. And completely non-toxic and not hazardous. You don't need to glove up, and you don't need to think about what you're going to do with them at the end of their product life. So the next tip that we have is about mold. And this is just a small little thing, but I like to throw it in there because this is like living in the Northwest. This is a really common problem that we all face. A lot of times with mold, sometimes we assume you see mold, you have to go for bleach. But really, I just want to point out, you can clean up mold without bleach. And you can clean it with that counter cleaner recipe that I just showed you. So soap and water, as long as it's in a patch of mold that's less than 3 feet wide. So if it's bigger than 3 feet, then that's some serious issues. And here's a graphic just about the different effects that daily exposure to mold in your home may cause. So just some things to be aware of. If you see a big patch like that, that's something you really want to get taken care of by like a specialist or remediation company, or talk to your landlord if you're a renter. And a lot of times with mold, it's going to be the preventing it at the source, or going to why is the moisture there? Are there ways you can improve airflow, that sort of thing. But if you're just looking to clean up the physical mold itself, soap and water does wonders, whereas bleach is corrosive, it's toxic, and as people mentioned, it's also reactive. So there's the potential to, if you accidentally mix it with other cleaning products, it can cause some serious harm. So for bleach, just use soap and water to clean it up. Try to get to the root of the issue, why that mold would be there in the first place. So really, and down here on this graphic, you can see use bleach only if sewage is present. So that's a situation where bleach would be appropriate. And again, our EPA Safer Choice soap, it doesn't have to be this brand. There's lots of brands that are Safer Choice or the Cradle to Cradle. You can find them Safeway, Fred Meyer, QFC, all the Central Market. They all have some options there for you. So soap and water, and save yourself some of the risk and the harm from using bleach. So the last thing, and this kind of pulls it all together again to our question, why use a hazardous product if you don't have to? Because part of it is it also needs to be safely handled at the end of its life. So maybe after hearing this, you've pulled some products out from under your counter, you've seen a couple that you don't necessarily want to use anymore. What do you do with it? We've talked about how hazardous it is, even just using it in the normal way it's supposed to be used. How do you get rid of it in a way that's not going to harm the environment or harm other people? So the first thing, a lot of people think about the container, right? You see the recycle sign, and so you're like, okay, toss it in the recycle. But we need to think about the product that's inside. So if we see any of those 4 signal words, that danger, poison, caution, or warning, we have to handle this specially. So if the container is totally empty, so if you have used it up, there's nothing left, it's just an empty container, great. It's empty, it can go into either the trash or recycling, as appropriate. If it's a nice plastic bottle, then we would want that in the recycling. Great, it's empty, awesome. Or if it's, some other weird packaging that for some reason isn't recyclable, it can go in the trash. If it's not empty, we do not want to put that in either the recycling or the trash. It actually has to go to a special disposal location, which I'll talk about here. And a little bit about why. So here you can see our Recology solid waste collection trucks. Our solid waste system wasn't designed to handle these type of chemicals. And you think about the workers that if something accidentally gets out of your garbage can, spills out of the truck, or it ends up at the recycle facility, then you have this chemical that is where it's not supposed to be and can potentially get on the workers there. And again, just the solid waste system was not designed to handle the hazards from some of these chemicals. Okay, so it can't go, if you have hazardous product left, you want to get rid of it. It can't go in the trash and it can't go in the recycling. So this is something, I put this in here, people used to do this. Never, never, never pour anything down storm drains outside. That includes something as seemingly innocuous as like you're washing your car and the soap is running off into the drain. Never put, nothing but rainwater should go down those drains, basically. So definitely don't want to put any chemicals. And why? Because after it goes down the drain, here you can see the rain, that's what's supposed to happen, just the rain. Those lead straight out into the nearest lake or river or the Puget Sound. So what's the nearest water body to you? Maybe it's Echo Lake, maybe it's Thornton Creek, maybe it's Lake Washington. Maybe you like to swim in one of those water bodies. Maybe you like to fish there or go for boating there. And we have all types of wonderful wildlife. Think of our salmon, our orca in Puget Sound. So whatever if you put anything down those outside drains, it's going straight to those water bodies without really any kind of treatment. So you definitely don't want to put any hazardous products down there. So you might be thinking, okay, well, I'll just pour it out down the drain, right? Especially something like Drano, like that's where it's supposed to go. Actually, we don't want that either. You should never pour a hazardous product down a drain. Don't empty out the container if it's not empty by pouring it out. Why is that? So here's a picture of a beautiful wastewater sewage pipe. So the wastewater system, which leads down, here's the West Point treatment plant down in Seattle. A lot of our sewage will also go up to the Brightwater facility, kind of in Bothell Woodinville area. And these treatment plants, you can see the big tanks, they are designed to remove bacteria and nutrients in suspended solids, not every different chemical out there in every different hazardous product. So that it's really, these chemicals still go through and they end up back in the environment. So again, think of our, maybe you like to recreate in different water bodies, or think of our salmon, think of our orca, shellfish, other marine wildlife. So they're the ones that end up living with all of these toxins that we put into the environment. So don't put it down the drain. So you might be thinking, what can I do with this? Where am I supposed to take it? If only there was a completely free and safe way to dispose of these products without causing harm to people or the environment. Well, you're in luck. So that's where the hazardous waste program in King County, that's exactly why it was formed, right? So this is a free service. It's paid for off of our garbage bills and our wastewater bills. So the garbage system, the wastewater system, not designed to handle it. So we have to, as taxpayers, we came together and made this program to deal with these hazards in a safe way. So they provide safe and convenient collection services that are free of cost for residents. So you can go, you might have heard of the hazardous waste mobile. So there's some mobile options that pop up usually during the summer and fall in different communities. And then we also have a permanent household hazardous waste collection facility. This map is a little hard to see, I apologize. But this is in North Seattle. So this is like just across the border from Shoreline here. It's on Stone Avenue, so a block east of Aurora at about between 128th and 125th. It's kind of hidden back there. It's hard to see, so I included a photo. This is what the facility looks like. There you can see the entrance gate. And they're only open Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So a little weird hours. And I'll send out a link to the website where you can find all the information for the different facilities, the different mobile events. And we just got word that they have reopened they have a home collection program for seniors. So you can actually call in if you're a senior and have them, somebody will come out and pick up hazardous products and get them to one of these facilities safely. So this is free of charge. Anything that says danger, poison, warning, or caution, any type of cleaning product that has those on it, they will take and dispose of safely. And you don't have to pay when you go in, it's free. So again, I'll send out the address. It's a little hard to find, so make sure you plug it in your Google Maps. They also have a helpline you can call if you're unsure, if you maybe have some more questions following tonight's presentation. So I'll be sure to include that. And there you can see the website, kingcountyhaswastewa.gov. Bit of a mouthful, but it's a great website. And again, it has the different directions. It has a full list of like what you can and can't bring to those facilities. And again, this is a free service for our taxpayers. So that is what I have, Autumn. So the next is questions.
All right, well, we've got a couple that have bubbled up. First one is, when a product says that it removes, kills, cleans 99% or some other percent of germs and bacteria, how accurate is that? And is there an organization that oversees the product's honesty?
That's a great question. I honestly, I have no idea. The only thing that I know of, like in Washington State, would be like the attorney, the state attorney general's office, right? That will sue different corporations for misleading advertising or different things like that. But I don't know off the top of my head. I'd be happy to look into that. I think it would just, at the very least, there would be like a false advertising sort of claim. Be my assumption, but yeah, we can. And also just the disclaimer here, this is, I'm pretty new to this content. So I just was recently, have learned about a lot of this myself and am excited to share it, but I may not have, super deep answers for you, but I'm happy I'll go back to the hazardous waste folks and look stuff up for you. So if there's anything I can't answer and you really want to answer, I'll be happy to dig that out for you.
All right, I think you did touch on this one a little bit, but will baking soda clean the mildew from grout?
Mildew from grout. I have not personally tried it on grout. That's a good, because grout is pretty porous. And I think baking soda works both. It is like a abrasive, so it does better on like the smooth surfaces, but I think it will kind of work its way in there. I'd try it out. Yeah, I'd be curious. And we'll go over in a second. We have a photo challenge, which is to try out some of these recipes. So try it out and send us a photo. I'd be curious to see how it works.
All right. Another person said, I heard that the vinegar and water solution is only effective for a 24-hour period. Is this true?
The vinegar and water. I'm not sure exactly which one you're referring to. Vinegar and water solution. So maybe for the drain cleaner? Yeah, so the drain cleaner, it works like pretty immediately and would help physically free up break up that clog. So I feel like it either works or it doesn't. A clog when it come back. But yeah, let us know if that's not the particular recipe you're referring to.
Cameron, are you aware of any safe recipes for wood decks, for cleaning wood decks?
So wood decks, I remember back in the day, I've had to clean one of those and somebody hired me to do it, and it was really they have a lot of different corrosive stuff that's designed to remove like mildew stains and such. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd be happy to look into that and see if somebody's done some work on that.
On a related topic, we have a question if we're aware of any laundry soap recipes.
Laundry soap recipes. That's not one of our 6, but I have seen some out there, and I know actually, so Snohomish County or WSU Snohomish County Extension has also put together a website with a bunch of different recipes. I was poking around there. So I just have the 6 basic ones on me right now, but we could send you a link, to some other resources that have, again, there's so many different variations of these and a lot of different applications. So I'm sure somebody has come up with something. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I'll be happy to send you a link tomorrow.
Couple of questions about the hazardous waste facility. First is, do you know how the hazardous waste facility safely disposes of the chemicals that they collect?
That is a great question, and I'm sort of embarrassed to say that I don't, and I've often wondered that myself. I think it depends on the, what kind of product it is. Obviously, it would determine how they handle it. I'd be happy, I'm curious for that myself. So I'll look into that and see if they have any little info on the different ways that they dispose of it.
Do you know if people can take half full containers of hazardous chemicals to the site?
Yep, that's exactly what it's designed for. They do need it to be in its original container. So that can be kind of difficult. Like if you, for some reason, have poured something into a different container, it does need to be in its original product container. But yeah, if there's any amount left, excuse me, so if as long as it's not completely empty, they will take it.
And what about cooking oil? Do you know where that can be disposed of?
Yeah, so cooking oil is pretty easy. There's a lot of different options to recycle it, and different companies will refine it into like a biofuel. And actually, if you're a Recology customer, you can schedule a pickup of cooking oil or used motor oil. And you have to go on their website. We can send the link out, and you schedule it, or you call them to schedule it, and they'll actually come out and pick it up. It just needs to be put into like a clear plastic, like a milk jug or something, with a secure screw top. But you'll set it out. You have to pre-schedule it, and then set it out on your collection day when they tell you to, and they'll pick it up.
Do you by chance know what you should use after cleaning chicken or meat in the sink?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't eat a ton of meat at my house, and it is something to think. You definitely want to think about like food safety and food handling when you're, if you're switching between cutting boards and stuff. But yeah, I think the basics of soap and water and just making sure you wash things thoroughly goes a long way. So, none of these recipes are really designed for like a food service environment where you have, really clear expectations around food handling and sanitization. But I would expect, safely, cleaning thoroughly with soap and water would be fine for most services. A lot of times I have heard, like, if your cutting board is really old, if it's a plastic or a wood cutting board, that can be problematic because the bacteria can get into the grooves there. So I'm sorry, I don't know a specific safer recipe that's designed to disinfect. So again, these are just kind of your basic cleaning recipes.
For the drain cleaning recipe, does the vinegar and water need to be hot?
So those were separate, right? So you pour in baking soda, you pour in vinegar by itself, and then you chase it with boiling water. So the vinegar doesn't need to be hot. I don't know if it matters, but it's just room temp vinegar and then boiling water. So you're not mixing them.
What about for hardwood floors? Have you seen any recipes with cleaning ideas for indoor pet messes, especially cat urine?
Yeah, that's a great question. If I wasn't in my Zoom room right now, I would go grab one of the products I have to see if it's safer choice, because there's one that I use a lot on our carpet for pet messes that has been pretty effective. But now I'm curious if it is what level, what hazard level it is. So a secret for carpets, I think for hardwoods, you could probably use that floor cleaner. That's the recipe here. So it's literally just dish soap and water. You'll see it on the card here. It's kind of hard to read, but a teaspoon of dish soap, a gallon of warm water, and then you mix it in a bucket. So that will work for any, like actual sealed wood surface. That would be a floor. But for pet messes specifically, so if you're doing carpet, another thing I know just anecdotally is that you can, if you have like one of those carpet cleaner devices or somebody where you mix it in the little chamber yourself, you can just use a vinegar and water mixture, and I'll look up the exact ratio, but you don't need to use they have all kinds of like cleaning carpet additives that are super toxic, and you can actually just use vinegar and water and it works great.
And then our last three questions are related to some of the topics that you spoke to beyond the cleaning recipes. So the first is, would you recommend not washing your car at home with respect to the storm drain issue?
That's a great question. So the simple answer is yes. The best thing to do for a couple different reasons is to take it to a place like Brown Bear or any of the, sort of legitimate car wash places will have a covered, it'll be covered. All the water gets captured and sent to has like different filters that it will go through before it goes to wastewater. So it doesn't go into the storm drains. So that's way better. It's way simpler. A lot of times they do a better, can do a better job. If you're just really want to wash your car at home, try to get it onto some grass or some gravel or a surface where it's not going to run off into a storm drain or into a ditch. So basically, yeah, soapy water into a ditch or into a storm drain is considered pollution. So if it's the simple answer is, yeah, just take it to a car wash place. A lot of times they'll even have systems to like recycle water, and they're super clean and super effective. So that's definitely preferred. If you really want to wash it at home, just get it somewhere where it's not going to drain off into the street.
Great. There's another question, says, I use vinegar and Epsom salt to kill weeds. Is this safe for the environment?
That's a great question. And we actually, so we did last spring and fall, we did a yard care series, and we had a couple different presenters. One of them, I think it's in the episodes that are specifically about lawns. And this question gets brought up, and the guy talks about it a little more in depth. But basically, yeah, so vinegar, it's not on, there's like an official list of like approved herbicides. So it's not on any of those lists. And it does raise or lower the pH because it's acidic. So over time, it will make your soil more acidic. And then anything you're applying, you just want to be really careful about when and how you're applying that. Again, because you don't want it to run off into storm drains or into ditches or into the environment. So I haven't used it personally, and that's kind of beyond my expertise. But that's the two things I remember was it is, yeah, not a registered herbicide, and then it does raise the acidity of the soil.
And Cameron, is baking soda the same as baking powder?
No. And some of you might have learned this the hard way, like trying to bake bread the first time. Or I have a funny story where like, I don't even remember which is the right one you're supposed to put on a wasp sting, but it was like some home remedy for like a wasp sting. And my brother got stung and I put the wrong one on there, and it was just this big clump of stuff. But yeah, they're very, very different. Usually baking powder is in like, sometimes it's in a round tin, whereas baking soda comes in like a box. Usually this is like a 1 pound box. So baking soda is what we want for the cleaning. Baking powder is what you want for baking.
Thank you. Where can sharps be disposed?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. Autumn, do you remember any places?
I don't, but I can look it up, and
yeah,
we have that information available on our website, on our recycling guide. Not in the trash, that's for sure. But I believe there's two options there's one for drop-off locations, or there's the potential for putting it into the like empty plastic soda. We will email you the correct.
Yeah, we'll email you a link. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of drop boxes around Shoreline that are available for that.
What are your thoughts on adding essential oils to the water vinegar spray bottle?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, apologies, I have no idea. I have not used that myself, and that was kind of beyond the scope of this this curriculum that I learned. I do know it's like a huge thing, right? Like people do it. So I would just try to find a recipe from a reputable source that uses those, because I do know different, something like if it's a citrus oil or something, it could also be acidic. So it might have some other effects, or it might not be safe on certain surfaces. So definitely do a bit of reading before you mix it. And I would say if you're new to it, start with these basics, get these down, and then you can always dive in a little deeper from there.
And then we had a question about how often you can clean the drains with the with the drain cleaner recipe that you provided.
As often as you like. Yeah, I don't think there's not not a limit in it doesn't, it's not corrosive in the same way that like a chemical agent like Drano would be corrosive. So yeah, I don't think there's as much of a concern with like corroding pipes or joints in the pipes or anything. It's a pretty simple recipe, and it works mostly on the grease and stuff that is in there.
Okay.
Great questions though, and yeah, apologies. This is my first time doing this presentation, so.
And then, okay, last question. Are fluorescent LED bulbs considered hazardous?
Great question. Yes, they are, and there's a couple different ways. There's actually a lot of different places where you can take those back safely. Yeah, so a lot of the different, like the CFL coil bulbs, or some of the different like ballasts for the bigger old style lamps will contain mercury or different chemicals, so they do need special handling. And you want to be really careful that they don't break, because that would release that chemical. And the couple places that I know off the top of my head, so once the Recology store is back open, they take those there, I believe, and they also will provide that same curbside pickup service that I was mentioning, excuse me, and for CFL bulbs. So there is a limit. You need to put them in a sealed plastic baggie, to contain it if something did break. And the other one that I can think of off the top of my head is the Shoreline Recycling and Transfer Station, which is over kind of on Meridian and 165th area. They have a bunch of different recycling services for residents. And if you're just going in to drop off recycling, it's free. So if you don't have any garbage, you don't have to pay to get in. And they have a big tub for those fluorescent bulbs and tubes.
Great, thank you, Cameron. And just as a reminder, if folks are curious about how to receive their cleaning kits, if you checked the box requesting a kit in your Zoom registration and you are a Shoreline resident, Cameron will be emailing you with information on when and where to pick those up. If you are a Shoreline resident who did not check that box but would still like a kit, you can also email Cameron your address and he can get that information to you. And I know there's a couple of sort of final questions coming in about recycling options, where to recycle batteries. We did put links to our recycling guide in some of the answered questions, which I believe you should all be able to see as well. But if you go to our website at shorelinewa.gov/recycling, we have information on all different types of materials that you can recycle at home, at drop-off locations, by requesting a special pickup from Recology, and more. So we'll be sure to send that link out as well. Now, before we close, I do want to announce that our next mission for our Earth Month Photo Challenge is coming up. All you need to do is email us a photo of your completed mission for a chance to enter the raffle with some great sustainability-themed prizes, including a Shoreline coffee cup, a metal straw, some Avigo beeswax food wraps, and more. This week's raffle mission is to try a safer cleaning product, recipe, or method that we learned about tonight, and then to share a photo. Just send that photo to Cameron's email by April 19th to enter to win. We will post all the submitted photos at shorelinewa.gov/Earth Day. So be sure to check out that page throughout the month to see all the photos and find more information about the raffle. And last but not least, we have 2 sessions left in our webinar series. Next Wednesday, we'll be focusing on creating a climate-friendly community by exploring local climate change impacts and key steps we can take as a community to both reduce emissions and build resilience. Our final webinar takes place on Wednesday, April 28th, and will cover veggie gardening for beginners. You can find more information and register for those webinars again on our website. That is all for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great evening.